Hey everyone, welcome back to the We Like Wrestling podcast. Under the spotlight, this episode, I have Cabana Man Dan with me. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, it's nice to be here. I'm only on voice because my Wi-Fi connection on this deserted remote island is not good enough for video. So you get to look at a picture of me looking oily and muscular. So there we go.
I love it. Um, so Cabana Man Dan, where did that character come from?
It came from my imagination. I've been in professional wrestling on and off, but for the most part, 20 years. But even before I was in professional wrestling, I was in backyard wrestling, and I was Cabana Man Dan when I was 14, 15 years old. Back in the Attitude Era. So I got trained to wrestle. And I just kept the name, kept the character, and just built on what I started with.
What was was there any inspiration behind your character?
Well, I'm of Filipino descent, so I definitely wanted to be like a fun Islander. Um, I think Cabana Man Dan and CMD both have a good ring to it. And at that time, I was a big Rob Van Dam fan and RVD, CMD, and then that kind of was easy to remember, either the full name or just the initials. So I decided to just go with that.
That makes sense. That's pretty cool, actually, RVD. Um, what is there anybody that inspired your in-ring work, um,
Uh, yeah. I
moveset
mean,
or entrance or
my in ring
anything?
work always kind of like transforms, but from the initial get go when getting into wrestling, I like the Chikara style, back in the day, like Lightning Mike Quackenbush and Amazing Red and just AJ Styles and all these guys. Like X Division was big whenever I first started wrestling, so I definitely try to do technical with some high flying and lucha libre and some cool trapping pins.
That's pretty cool. I always enjoyed the X Division part of TNA. I first started watching TNA when I was a teenager. I was just scrolling through the Comcast guide and I saw Kurt Angle's Sting. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was hooked on the six-sided ring
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
X Division. The especially that match Ultimate X where they're on the ropes. All of that. It was I miss the good TNA days.
Well, I hear they're just as good as they ever was. I just don't have a way to watch it, and I don't have cable or streaming providers that have their program. But we can just reminisce. Sometimes I think if you get on Pluto, it just I think there's an Impact Wrestling channel that just plays all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of replays. I think they're on like a channel now where I don't know. It's like Destination America or something like that, where not many people get it
I don't know, no idea. Maybe AX. No, they're on Access.
access. Yeah, it's yeah. I miss those. TNA back in the day was the alternative. It's what AEW is now. It was different with a six-sided ring and all of that. Um, so I've seen that you travel a lot.
Yes, I'm,
Um,
I'm quite nomadic.
yeah, some of these independent wrestlers try to stick to the tri-state area or around Pennsylvania. They go to New York, New Jersey, whatever. But I think I've seen you travel to like Tennessee and all of like across the map.
Oh gosh, yeah. I think I've wrestled in nearly 20 states.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
you know, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. Just wrestled in Mississippi, uh, Oregon, Washington, recently Virginia. I mean, pretty much almost all four corners of the United States, except for like that southwest coast, like the California area and Texas. I haven't gotten out that. I haven't gotten out west much, but just you can't get famous in your backyard, so you just got to do the drives and you got to hustle, and it's about traveling. I enjoy it.
That's pretty cool. Is all 50 states on your bucket list, or
Oh gosh, I don't think I ever want to go to some of these states. I don't know. Is there wrestling in Idaho?
there's probably wrestling there. I don't know about Hawaii or Alaska though.
Actually, yeah, I know of Hawaii and Alaska. I know Wrestle Pros in Alaska, and then Oos Pro Wrestling in Hawaii.
That's pretty cool, actually. I don't know. I feel like if I'm already this close, I'd make it a bucket list to do all 50 states.
Well, we'll see. I don't think I have enough gas left in the tank for that.
Never say never. RVD
I'll
is
get as
still
many as I
52 years
can.
old and still working.
Who?
RVD, he's
Oh,
52,
yeah.
still working.
A
Ric
fellow
Flair
that
is still working.
a fellow I worked for in Alabama and have wrestled a time is Action Mike Jackson. He's mid-70s and still wrestling and doing dives and walking the ropes like Undertaker all the way around the ring, working for Game Changer Wrestling and all this crazy shit.
That's pretty cool.
He's awesome.
Who is for if you had to say one person was your main influence, who would it be?
Man, I would say. I mean, I don't know if it's an influence, but it eventually influenced me because everybody kept saying it. So I was like, well, I'll look into this more and more. And that was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I when I was younger, I got a lot of comparisons because I had the long hair and clean shaven and all that stuff. And then people would compare me to Ricky Steamboat, so I would start watching a lot of his matches. And then I attended one of his seminars, and he's a tried and true, pure good guy, and so am I. So I just lean in on it, and it's done me very well so far.
Ricky Steamboat is a legend.
And
That
he's
is definitely
super
a
nice
name
too.
to.
So he's always got time for all the wrestlers in the back to sign autographs, take pictures with the girls and boys and all that stuff. So and sign autographs. And he was in a video segment with me at this little independent show, and that was nice.
I haven't been able to meet him yet.
Oh, he's
I
great.
hope I can soon. So have you heard about the Hamburg Field House?
Oh yes, it's very historic. I know that whenever I was on a call with some other folks that were or listening to Kevin Kelly on a podcast, that's where Jimmy Snuka got hit in the head with the coconut from Roddy Piper, and they used to tape a bunch of WWF shows there with legends.
When somebody says Hamburg Field House, one of the first things they always say is the Snuka coconut thing.
Hey, that's near and dear to my heart.
And it's people when they go in that arena, they can actually point out the spot that it happened to, which is cool. We met. I was hanging out with the AXW crew and Kevin Kelly, and we met somebody at this event, and they said they were the kid that Andre the Giant held inside the field house, and they showed a picture. That was pretty cool. Now, what do you feel like for you to be able to wrestle at the field house? What do you feel like that's gonna be for you? Like, are you gonna be nervous? You're gonna be excited? Is that like a?
I'm always excited and nervous, so it'll be even more so just because of the sheer history. You could probably feel it. There's a lot of tradition there, and AXW coming back for the people on January 7th. That they're going to try to reignite that the good old days of professional wrestling. Instead of it just being a wrestling match, they're going to try to make it a spectacle, an event that you can bring all the family to and have a great night in the town.
The Hamburg crowd is definitely one to work in front of. They get excited and they get into it. I'm sure they'll be excited to see you. I don't remember. Have you been? Have you worked in the field house before?
I have never been there, so I'm very very stoked about it.
Have you worked near Hamburg at all?
I've worked in a few times in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, several times for Chikara Pro back in the day, and then Sellersburg for Excellence Pro Wrestling. But it's been a while, and I think another show for Pizza Party Wrestling. So I've touched Pennsylvania a little bit, but I'm not never in Hamburg, so I don't know if that's close to Philadelphia or anything.
It's like an hour, I want to say.
Well, hey, that's close enough for me.
Pizza Party Wrestling. That's an interesting name.
Yeah, it's literally like a pizza party, and they do have pizza at the concession stand.
That's interesting. I definitely recommend traveling the small town of Hamburg. It's especially the little town that you go through to get to the field house. It's nice. It has that old feel to it. It's very Very nice.
Oh yeah, like this past Sunday, I was driving through Mississippi, and there was like a small town called Sturgis. And if you've ever watched the Andy Griffith Show, it was literally like driving through Mayberry.
Huh. I've never seen that show.
I think it's a rite of Southern Passage to watch the Andy Griffith Show.
Do you have a now? Where did you train at?
Oh man, I trained in the back of an antique shop at an outlaw wrestling show in 2001 with Chief Little Lynn. He did some WCW enhancement matches like in the 90s, I guess. And then I just kind of went from there when that show closed down. I just learned from different people as I went along. Jack Lord, Dan Sawyer, Adam Roberts, and then just took a bunch of seminars and just pretty much just had it on the fly training as matches were happening. That's why it took me so long to get good, because I just had to learn as I go.
I'm sure it takes everybody a little bit to get good. Whether there's some people that think they're good right away, but you know.
Oh no, that is not me. It took me near 20 years to be decent.
I'm sure that's not. I think you're actually the first guest that we've had that actually worked for WCW, so that's interesting.
Oh no, my trainer did.
Oh, okay.
But I have let's see, I have worked with some people that worked in WCW, but Lash LaRue, Buff Bagwell, trying to think of some other folks. Yeah.
Have you worked for AEW or WWE at all?
No, I haven't.
Not even as like extra work or anything.
I mean, I've done some extra work for WWE. I got to be a not a rosebud, but a conga line dancer.
Hey, that's something.
Yeah.
I feel like you would actually fit in with the rosebuds.
Yeah. Hey, rosebuds or conga line. You know, conga line is, you know, that's up my alley too.
Was that No Way Jose?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I'm sure that was fun.
It was.
How's did you have any interaction with Jose besides?
No, I mean, other than, you know, for the segment, it was a nice enough guy. It was cool.
Do you have a favorite city or state that you like working in?
Oh gosh, you know, I really like wrestling in Nashville, but it might be just the specific show called Southern Underground Pro because it's in a punk rock dive bar.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's really fun. There's no chairs. Everybody's just around the ring. It's a real little like grungy feel to it, but there's so much energy there. But as far as like a region, I really like wrestling in that Maryland, DC, Virginia corner. I haven't been there in a few years, but the fans there were really grateful and gave me gifts and all that stuff, and still keep in touch today. So I miss the promotions that used to run in that North Virginia and Washington D.C. area in Baltimore.
There's actually one or two bars that host wrestling events in PA, and I it's definitely a thing that I'd like to attend because
bars are so fun.
Yeah, there's no chairs. It's like the fans seem way more into it because they're so up close, and it just feels like a great time. Yeah, that too, which sometimes can be a problem, but
it can.
But yeah, the bar shows are definitely on my list of things to do. Nashville is the one that's like Jerry Lawler, and is that
that's
his
Memphis.
Promotion?
But I mean, Nashville still counts, but I think it's a couple hours from Memphis.
Have you been able to work there?
You know, not yet, but I have a feeling next year I will, because there seems to be some more Memphis stuff popping up. Like that area starting to build back up. Because I mean, after Memphis wrestling, it was just kind of like whatever for a really, really long time, and there seems to be some things popping up there now.
I met Lawler. He's a pretty good guy, and his autograph is beautiful.
Oh, I bet he's a talented artist.
He takes his time signing. It's so good.
That's cool.
Do you watch any current product?
Yes, I mean I watch Raw and SmackDown and the WWE pay per view. I'm sorry, premium live events, just because they're easy to access on Hulu and Peacock. I only see AEW through what I see on Twitter as far as like video clips or some podcast reviews of it. I don't have cable on the island, so I don't have the TBS or the TNT shows. So
Yeah. I'm sort of the same way. I don't watch wrestling every week, but I follow it through YouTube, Instagram, and then I'll get every AEW pay-per-view.
I've gotten one before because I had just had like a surgical procedure. I think it was Double or Nothing. I don't remember. It was back in March. Like, I don't know if that's Double or Nothing. Yeah, I think it was. It's good.
I always enjoy AEW pay-per-views. It sucks though because there's fans that complain about the length of them, but it's every 3 months and it starts at like 8 p.m. and goes till midnight. So like every 3 months, 4 hours is
Are you trying
nothing
to tell
compared
me
to
that wrestling fans complain about wrestling? No
wrestling.
way.
Wrestling fans are some of the biggest hypocrites.
No, they're
Um,
the best. They should all come out to Hamburg Fieldhouse on January 7th. They're amazing.
um, football fans are a lot worse though. So, uh, but yeah, it sucks for AEW because they're so new and they're not new anymore, but they've been around for a decent amount of time, and there's still people that talk bad about them, and it's just I don't know.
The ones talking bad about any wrestling aren't the ones buying tickets or watching it anyways. So it's like their
I
opinion is moot.
yeah, we always say enjoy what you enjoy, watch what you watch. Don't hate on the opposite product or
Yeah.
it's why can't we all just watch wrestling and talk about wrestling? You know.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh, do you have any? Are you gonna watch the Royal Rumble?
Of course.
Who do you think is going to win?
Huh. Shoot, at this point, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people that could. I don't know. It's just I think Cody Rhodes does Cody Rhodes return at the Rumble and win, and then go to WrestleMania.
I think that's the most popular.
If that's possible, like physically, I think that's the way you go. Because he was hot. He was hot whenever he got hurt. So
Even with Cody, like there were people that are like, and I was like, I don't like Cody for what he did in AEW about the sledgehammer and bashing WWE, whatever, and then going to WWE. I get it; it's a business; you need money, but it's like never say never. So don't do those things that
yeah, you
might
don't
give
burn
you a
bridges because
bad.
you might have to cross them again. But
Yeah,
obviously, something got rebuilt or never really got destroyed to begin with. It's
I
all a
think
show.
I think Cody is the most popular answer to win the Rumble.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'd like Sami Zayn.
Like
Um,
accidentally win somehow.
Something, yeah, to set up him and Roman, or
So
it's.
amazing.
I mean, if Kofi won and Daniel Bryan won, why can't Sami Zayn win the title?
Oh yeah, and he's just as popular now, if not more, than those guys were at that time.
Oh yeah, I mean he got Usi over.
Amazing. That's so good. I
I
love it.
mean him and
That's the best part about wrestling. In the past few years, it feels like the most consistently good thing going is that the
Sami
bloodline
is one
and
of those
Sami Zayn.
guys. Like even the WrestleMania match with Johnny Knoxville, he just took that and
Oh, it's
ran with it.
fantastic. People,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a wrestling purist match, but entertainment purposes, it was 5 stars.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Roman Reigns, whoever wins, I feel like is going to take it off of Roman.
Oh yeah,
Um,
maybe.
because I feel like Roman is at that point now where it's like, take some time off or do whatever.
Well, he's like
It's
number one, and then whoever was number two is like a very far number two.
yeah. I think it's there's also talks about The Rock.
Yeah. So it's like I don't know. I don't know how that works either.
I don't want The Rock to win the Rumble. If you want the
He
Rock
ain't
and
getting
Roman,
no Rumble unless he's like number 30.
that's what it'll be. It'll be 30. But if you want Roman and Rock, fine, but don't make it for the title. It's just, or if it is for the title, Roman needs to win.
I agree.
There's also speculations that there's going to be 2 matches for Roman, night 1, night 2. I don't know. Me and the rest of the podcast guys were saying they should do like some sort of ladder match. That way Roman still keeps one title.
Yeah.
They both pull it down. So we got off topic a little bit.
It's like we watch current wrestling, so it's like, of course we like
So-
watch wrestling.
Where did you start your? I know you said you started like backyard wrestling, but your first match and your first going of wrestling, where did that take place?
It was for a very, very, very small promotion that is shockingly not around anymore. But it was a Wrestling Christian Fellowship in a small town called Center, Alabama, in the back of an antique store in a 16-foot low boy ring. That was real rickety and terrible.
16 foot. Wow.
It was tiny.
Wow.
So that's, it was humble beginnings. Still humble 22 years later.
But at least you did it because you wanted to do it, and you still thought that you could do it. There's people that
still trying.
take it for granted.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's even easier now than it ever was to get into wrestling. So it's just about everywhere has like just about every county has some sort of wrestling school or show. So I mean it's accessible anywhere. Maybe it's almost too easy to get into it, but that's a whole other discussion.
Do you have a favorite that you worked with, whether it was a legend or rising star?
Oh gosh. I'm just trying to think. I've got a lot of favorites, I guess, because they're all kind of different. Like whether it was like the champion of a local show named Marcus Erics, where we wrestled each other like I think 4 times in 2 months and just kept having so many matches, but they were all different. I really like that. I mean, up and comers like Alec Price out of the New England area. He was great. Vinny Pacifico out of New York. Working with Scott Steiner and Hornswoggle was wild. Tagging with Samoa Joe was fun.
Oh, you got to tag with Samoa Joe.
Yeah, this is like 2006, and
it's like prime Joe.
Yeah, he was on TNA at that point, and he was supposed to have a singles match, and another bad guy came out and ruined that match. I came out and made the save, and we made it a tag match in North Alabama on a Tuesday night.
That's pretty cool.
It's on my YouTube, so if you check out that, there's a Cabana Man Dan and Samoa Joe tag team match on YouTube.
Oh, I definitely need to watch that. I'm probably going to look that up after this interview.
There you
go. That's pretty cool, actually. Samoa Joe. Is there a bucket list guy that you want to work with before you hang up?
Well, I mean, being in wrestling for so long, you have a bucket list when you start out, and then you slowly chip away at it, and then you get to a point where you really don't have one anymore. You just want to see who's doing well, and you want to challenge them and test yourself. That's how I was with Alec Price at Grind Pro Wrestling. And then I've got a big test January 7th against Superior Tony Evans from the Kentucky area. And then I've got Kenzie Paige Henry, NWA Women's Tag Team Champion, wrestling her in March. So it's always nonstop. It's like when you're around this long, people start coming after you. You're the one on the list of the bucket list after wrestling for so long.
That's never a bad thing, being on somebody else's list.
No, that's job security.
Yeah. Do you so there's nobody that you'd like one final match and then I can call it quits?
Oh gosh. I mean, I feel like I had Steamboat. That back in I had that like in 2005 or 6, and it kind of like made me feel empty afterwards because I was like, well, I've done everything on my bucket list. What am I going to do now? And it really like took it out of me. So I just, you know, I don't really know. I mean, there's people that'll be like, I'd like to wrestle them, but it's like on all these shows I'm on, it's like I'd rather give a dream match to somebody else and have them wrestle them, just because I don't know. I feel you know, that's kind of a weird answer. It's like, yeah, I'd like to wrestle Jonathan Gresham, but at the same time, if somebody that's like there wants to, it's like, well, hey, you know, it's just a match. You can have it.
Yeah.
So I'm you know, I'm kind of weird in giving like that. Like, just, you know, I don't have anything that just makes me like jump up and down. I got to wrestle this dude or whatever. I just like having matches and having fun.
So we had TJP on our podcast when we brought him in for a meet and greet, and I'm always curious about this question. I don't know why, but I asked him, you know, who was your favorite match, and his answer stays with me because it's such a great answer. And he said the next one.
Yeah,
and that's such a great mentality to have, because then you know, then you always go into the next match thinking, how can I make this better? How can I make this better? You know?
Yeah.
And that'll always stick with me. So anytime I ask somebody that question, I'm just always curious as to what they say, because it gives you different mind, you know, different takes on things. Have you worked with Tony Evans before?
We've been on the same roster at New South in Alabama like several times, but we've never touched. But he's done great things. He's one heck of an athlete. I believe he's like he's over the fitness part of a pretty well respected college in Kentucky. So, you know, he's got all the nutrition and all the gym he could swing a bat at. So he's definitely a superior athlete, possibly than me. But you know, I got the experience and the speed, I believe, and probably just, you know, the technical side of it. He's just super strong.
I don't think I've seen anything from either of you, so I'm actually excited to see that match.
There's a lot of people, you know, people are expecting a lot out of that match, and you know, it's two people that are from different regions going to a neutral region, and we're both debuting and we're both looking to impress. You know, it's kind of like whoever does the better job and whoever wins possibly gets a roster spot and the other one doesn't. So it's like, that's a lot of pressure. It's a job interview.
Yeah. January 7th, there's actually a lot of new people coming in, and I'm excited because it means big things are coming for Pennsylvania wrestling.
Yeah, I looked at the all the match graphics. I mean, there's people that I'm familiar with for sure, like John Schuyler and Derek Neal and Aaron Wade, just because those guys are kind of in the South, sorta. And then I've seen Kikoa. I believe I've seen him on AEW before. So, you know, a lot of the guys I don't know. So that's excitement. That's more matchups that I could have. That one of those could be a dream match. I don't know.
I'm hoping the crowd gets behind you and enjoys what they see.
I think so. I usually do well on debuts just because they don't really know what to expect from someone that looks like me or acts like I do or wrestles barefoot, or so it's you don't know what you're gonna get.
How is that, by the way, wrestling barefoot? Because anytime I see somebody without boots on, I'm like, how?
I can't wrestle with shoes or boots because I'm too clumsy. I'm just so used to barefoot, and you know, I'm light on my feet. My footwork's way better because of that, and I don't know. I just like it better. I get better traction.
I'd be afraid that I'd break something more easily. I don't know.
I've only rolled an ankle once and chipped a toenail, so I'm pretty lucky.
It's interesting. But January 7th, AXW, Hamburg, Pennsylvania, at the Hamburg Fieldhouse. It is Cabana Man Dan going against Tony Evans. It's going to be one of the hottest matches there. Thank you for your time with this interview. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely, and I look forward to meeting you in person. I'm assuming you're going to be there.
Of course, the whole podcast crew will be there.
Awesome. And tickets start out just $5 SAN or even $5 American. You can get those at axwtix.com. I think there's even a family special where you get a bunch of tickets and hot dogs and drinks for $60. So, gosh, you can't even go to the movie theater and get popcorn for that.
Popcorn alone is $60.
You're
Yeah,
right.
four second row seats. For hot dogs, for drinks, $60.
Hey, you can't beat that.
Yeah, I mean, even going to a wrestling show for $5 nowadays is amazing.
And usually you think, wow, $5 wrestling. I mean, you can waste $5 on a Starbucks drink that only lasts like 5 minutes. This will get like 2 or 3 hours of wrestling, and I believe even before that, there's a separate meet and greet event with stars like Roberto Rodriguez?
Ricardo Rodriguez.
Ricardo. Oh gosh, I hope he didn't
Ricardo Rodriguez. We're bringing in JC Storm for a meet and greet.
Cool.
As well as I think Lady Frost was announced.
Yes, Lady Frost and the Victor Benjamin.
Yeah,
I like those guys.
I think there's a couple
they're good
more.
people.
For a regular wrestling show, there's a ton of meet and greets, and it's the first one of the year, so it can only get better from there.
That's right.
But we hope to see all of you January 7th. Thank you, Cabana Man Dan. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.